don't know. I don't know. It's one of those days, folks. Okay, just a minute. I don't want to hit that again. Sorry, I should be a professional at this point. How many years have I been doing this? I had to reboot my computer and I cannot see you. Just a second. Because now my poor computer is definitely struggling a bit. Let's see. Now I need to get back to, I've got things all bungled. Elron messaged me, he's like, are you okay? I'm like, I bungled it all up and now I can't even see. Oh, there we go. I probably lost everybody, but maybe some people found their way back here. Let's see, pop out chat. I will say, and I mean, I have a Windows, well, I have a Windows computer that's my gaming computer that's connected to my TV. So I am somewhat familiar with Windows, but I'm mostly familiar with Apple. And I will say that when you have to reboot a Mac, you might as well like just go take a vacation. Go take a vacation while it reboots. So I was like, yeah, I just bungled it up and I got to reboot the whole shebang. And I've got to figure out, I think we had the same problem last time, but I've got to figure out how to keep my phone from dialing onto my computer. Anyways, none of which is interesting. Hello, everybody, and happy summer solstice. Let's see. Mr. Jones said I'm the right shade. Oh, thank you. Apparently, I'm not blown out like I was before. This week's chat has been sponsored not by Coke Zero, but by Arizona Watermelon. I'm sure it has all kinds of natural flavors. Hello, Miss Nikki. We're late. I was already a couple minutes late anyways. I think what happened, to be honest, is that because I was trying to close a bunch of things down before I got into chat, such as I had InDesign open and I had iMovie open, which is not really smart within my older iMac. And so I had them both open. I closed one. I had to force quit another one. And then when I tried to cancel the call, whatever I did, everything just started acting slow. So I think there were multiple steps of mistakes happening there. I know, and Coke stock takes a dive, says Jace. Hello, Mr. Jace. I was just in the mood for some watermelon, but I'm sure there's no watermelon in here. Let's see what the first ingredient is. Well, the first ingredient is filtered water, so that's good. At least it's water and not sugar as the first ingredient. I don't know if that's really true. Do you think that is anybody in chat? No. Is that an urban legend or a myth that the first ingredient, that the order of the ingredients relates to the predominant ingredients? Because people always do that. They're always like, if it has, let's see what its first ingredient is. And then it's like, okay, well, yeah, it's just pretty much pure sugar. I wonder if that's actually relates to each other. I don't know. We seem to think it does, but who knows? Well, it looks like Tom is in the Mac store. Oh my goodness. Yeah, and Elron had to get a new computer this week. I cannot. I told him, like, don't, because he was messaging me. I'm like, don't jinx me because this needs to last longer. So I'm like, do not jinx me. It's definitely slowing down. And I wiped it. So because a lot of times that's the problem. You just need to wipe it fresh. It helped a little bit, but it didn't help as much as I was hoping it would. It will have to keep plugging along, and I just have to be more mindful of not having 50 things open at once, which is something that I do. I'm sure I've missed stuff. I'm so sorry. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for swapping over to the chat. I see Mr. Simon is there, and Mr. Jones, and Raven, and Floor, and Jace, and Hollow Zen, Alexa Joy, and Two Paths. I'm going to miss people. I probably shouldn't even start. Mr. Zach. Hello, Mr. Zach. Miss Lucy in the sky with diamonds. Misty Hall, and Moon Priestess, and Sherry, and Shanora, and Miss Carolyn. I think it's Carolyn, isn't it, for Somewhere in Time? I shouldn't say that. I don't know why I do. I'm trying to stop myself from doing that because some people don't want their real name out there. Apologies. Mr. Groot. I know I missed people. Una She. Don't slaughter her name. Miss Una She. Secret Path, hello to you. And California Dreams, hello to you. I know. Apparently, Elrond, we need to. Oh, Tom just wrote that he's in the computer hospital. Oh, not good. Yeah, everybody got booted, Miss Sherry. It wasn't just you. It is a beautiful sunny day, so yeah, it might just be the world is saying, get off of your computers and go into the sunshine. I was actually sitting out in the sunshine because my niece, I've been moving my niece this week, or helping my niece move and helping her paint. Really, I just, well, the one day I did climb up and down ladders, and I have to say I am too old to be climbing up and down ladders because my feet and everything just hurt. It was hard getting out of bed the next morning. But anyways, she had on her porch, they bought a new house, and on the house, next to the front porch, there were two big chunks of slices of a birch tree. Like they must have had a birch tree that they cut down, and they kept a taller one and then I don't know, a pretty tall one, but not as tall, slab of birch with the bark all aged onto it. And so I stole one. Literally, she had already left. Well, she said I could have it, but then I didn't go back and ask her twice. And I had Katie pick it up and put it into my car. And then I lugged it upstairs. And then I'm sitting here with it in my house. I'm like, I have no place. My apartment, I've gone through and clean, deep clean, got rid of stuff, but I still have every place in my apartment has a function. And so there was like no place to just stick a log, please. So I'm like, okay, now I need to clean off I have a little balcony, like it's very small little balcony. And I had like a table and two chairs that Katie had given me, but you couldn't hardly sit in them because it was all cramped. So I took those off and carried those down into my storage and just put a little chair and a little table and that slab of wood to throw my crystals on, because I do like to put my crystals out in the sun and in the moon. So anyways, I'm rambling, but it's nice. Like sometimes it's those little things, right? Just clear some space for yourself so that you can get a little bit of moonbeams on your face or a little bit of sunshine on your face when you're like me and you work from home and you don't have a yard, that kind of thing. You have to make those little spaces. Like Miss Nikki has made herself an oasis in her backyard. Oh, Isabel's going to love to sit out there. She already does. Like she sits out on, it's not much, really, it's like her potty pad place. And so she loves to sit there in the sun she likes to sit. She likes me to keep the sliding glass door open so that she can set in between, like she lounges over the door and just keeps an eye on the world because she is protective. Let's see. Yeah, she's terrible at barking. That's her problem. She never makes a sound. Like if you play with her, she's never, like if you get her riled up and playing, she does not make a peep. And when we go walks every day, and if she meets people or dogs, she does not make a peep. She never barks. But in the apartment, if people are walking up the stairs or if people are walking to their cars because they live here on the side where the porch is, she barks like crazy. It's not her best feature. Um, Somebody asked me about Good Omens. I think Alron did. You know, I think we talked about this last week, but I've been really disappointed. I'm determined to give it another try because I was very tired when I watched I think I watched the first 2 episodes. I didn't even pay attention. I love David Tennant. I love the book Good Omens, although it has been 100 years since I've read it, but I loved the book. I love David Tennant. I love the book. I love the guy from Underworld, and I keep forgetting his poor name. But I was underwhelmed. Like, I cannot tell you how excited I was when I saw it was coming. I was so excited. And I watched the first episode and I was like, I was disappointed. I was just kind of like, okay, yeah, you're fabulous. Okay, yeah, but it's just not working for me. And so I watched the second one, and part of the way through, I literally, I was doing something else. Like, I wasn't even watching. And so I literally came to the end of the second episode and I realized I hadn't watched like half of the episode. I was like off doing something else. It just didn't catch my attention. So I don't know. Yeah, it could be that, Unashi. Like, sometimes when you really love a book. I mean, this is a lot happens to me, right? Books very rare, or movies and TV shows are rarely as good as the books. There have been a very few exceptions, but for the most part, if you've already enjoyed the book, you already kind of have a visual of the people in the books. They've taken on a life of their own in your head. And so sometimes it can be jarring then to watch a show on a movie or TV, because then you're kind of like, that's not who I have built up in my head. So, but I love David Tennant. Love David Tennant. So I'm going to give it, I do have a rule that I always give a show 3 solid episodes before before I completely give up on it. So, but I think this time I'm actually going to go back to the beginning and rewatch it and watch 3 episodes, because I was, I know, Sherry. I'm sure he is. He's good in everything he does. I'm going to give it another chance, but I was underwhelmed. I'm not going to lie about it. I was underwhelmed. Hello to whoever, I cannot obviously say your name with the symbols, but hello from Korea, or to Korea, and welcome. Let's see. So yeah. So I know I'm disappointed in that I'm disappointed. So let's see. Sherry's by 3, so I need to give it 3 at least. Yeah, that's my point. Sorry, folks. I feel like I'm in the middle of getting like a face infection, or allergies are just so incredibly bad. But we've had this problem last week, but this week I actually woke up this morning. I thought, you know what, I really actually don't feel well. So we'll see how well this goes. Hopefully, I liked the Black Panther. That was really good. I live in Korea and I am a fan of you. Well, welcome. I am really glad. It's so exciting that somebody from Korea or the UK or Australia or somewhere can all kind of come together and connect. I mean, there is amazing things about technology. As much as I love the technology or as much as technology can be frustrating, right? AKA to today with everything freezing up. As much as it can be frustrating, it's so amazing. It really is amazing that we can communicate and share information and have chit chats and look at decks together and all of that from you know, from all over the place. Like literally, there's Miss Diane from Nova Scotia. Hello, Miss Diane in Nova Scotia. I've always thought Nova Scotia seems like, now I'm going to get this wrong, Miss Diane. Don't hate me if I'm wrong. But was Anne of Green Gables set in Nova Scotia? Probably wrong. I'm probably wrong. I always feel like that whenever I hear Nova Scotia, so I might be wrong, but whenever I hear Nova Scotia, I always feel like it sounds like this really beautiful, quaint place in which something like Anne of Green Gables takes place. That's how I always think of Nova Scotia. It could be completely wrong. What do I know? Hello, Earthy Shy? Something of that nature. Is it anywhere? Is Prince Edward Island anywhere near or in Nova Scotia, Miss Diane? Am I close? Am I geographically close when I think these things? I am not. We should map something out, shouldn't we? Wouldn't that be cool? Shay. All of my World of Warcraft, all of my characters since the very first mush that I did have had some version, not spelled that way, Chay. I believe it came from a series of books that I read in which there was a Chayli, Chayly, and I actually think that was a male name in the set of books. I know there were dragons in the books. I still have a couple of them. I need to look it up what that is. But anyways, that name got stuck. And so all of my gaming names have Shay. I think Che, but most people in the gaming world call me Shay. So there you go. There you go, Shay. You and I have something in common, even though we spell it differently. In the gaming world, that's me. such a random piece of information that most of all my gaming names have the word Shay in there somewhere, and I'm pretty used to being called Shay because of that. Because you know, you're on like Vent, and well, we used to be on Vent. Now it's probably something else, but you know, we were always on Vent. So people, you know, I would respond to Shay probably as much as Kelly. Random information you never knew you needed. I have to say, even though it's likely very unhealthy, it's really delicious. These are one of my favorites. I don't really like anything else Arizona. But look, folks, come on. Vitamin C, antitox, whatever that means. Antiox, like antioxidants. It's vitamin C and antioxidant fortified. So what can be wrong with it? What can be wrong with it? I'm sure it's very healthy. Oh dear. I feel a little slap happy. Oh, you're also Shay in the game more. See, that's a good name. Again, mine's spelled different, but sounds the same. So we're connected. It's probably filtered through sugar. I would definitely no. Well, sugar is natural, right? It says 100% natural flavoring. Come on, Chris. It's good for me. It's good for me. What else is in here? I can't hardly read it. They make it so that you can't read it. Filtered water. Yep. See, here's our second indication. Second ingredient, high fructose corn syrup, pear juice, but it's corn syrup that came from pear juice. Mango puree. I mean, I will say compared to some things, at least it has something that doesn't sound like a chemical. Do not come to this channel. No, Mr. Jones. Do not come to this channel for a health drink. Because normally I'm drinking Coke Zero, which is so bad for you. How many carbs? I have no clue. I probably can't. Look at me. This is how old I'm getting. Let's see how far back do I have to pull it. Luckily, right now, it's just about arm's reach. But what happens when it goes beyond arm's reach? I mean, then I'm really in trouble, right? 10% juice. Come on, Chris. It's 10% juice. Carbs, 25 grams of total carbs. There you go. But no, this is not the place to come for healthy drinks. I do drink a lot of healthy tea, but just not when I'm talking. Kelly, I know I'm resisting Jones D because they make me nauseous. I tried many years ago to have bifocals because I've always had glasses. And it makes me nauseous, but I'm sure they are much better at making bifocals now. Let's see. Elron says, can you talk about uploading videos to YouTube more quickly? The only way that I know, this would be a quick answer, Elron. I was going to type it in, but I was trying to go up or get back on, is I use something called Handbrake. I'll type it out here. If I took my glasses off, I don't even know if I could see that far. No, I couldn't even. If I take my glasses off, I can't hold this. Even if I hold this out, I cannot read it at all. It just blur. No, that won't help. So I have to literally have my glasses are made to be, so I have problems with farsight and I have problems with nearsight. And I have astigmatism. So what they do with my glasses and give it not quite good enough for my, well, these are actually my reading glasses. I ended up getting reading glasses. My distance glasses are set in the middle. They're not quite as far as they should be. And they give me a little bit near because I just can't do, I feel like you would have to kind of adjust your head or go like this. Like you see people go like this with bifocals. I don't know because I don't have bifocals. Anyways, I use Handbrake. Did I even type that out? I'm telling you my allergies and I did take some allergy medication and I'm definitely feeling a little loopy. Let's see. I don't even think I typed it. Did I? Thank you, Mr. Jones. Thank you, Mr. Jones. You're so wonderful. I use Handbrake and I run it through and that shrinks it down and makes it upload faster. So that's what I use to try to improve my upload times. And it does work. You got to kind of tweak the settings a little bit, but then it works pretty good. Jessica, you have beautiful discs with, well, yes, I do. Thank you. On your desk. Could you tell me what they are? Those are from, I know, I'm just so afraid, Linda. Linda said, try progressive. I get off whack. I think some of it's because I have a very bad ear from having so many ear infections. I have very loud tinnitus in my ear. And I constantly have like sinus and ear infections on this side. And so because of that, I do get off like kilter and nauseous very easily. And so I'm just afraid that they're going to make me nauseous. Okay, let me finish this person's question because clearly I cannot bounce around or I'm never going to answer. Here, I'm just going to type a website. Ooh, I think it's called shop.alittlemad.com. I think that's it. Let me click it. I don't know if that's right. It's just trying, but my computer's acting up. Anyways, I think no, is that not it? Okay. It's something like that. Shop.alittle. I don't know. Oh, there we go. There's a Little Mad shop. Let me see if I can get it right. There we go. Here it is. So this is Patrick and his wife Jolene's shop. I'm going to set another one. That's where I buy mine at. I don't think that they're up on the website, but if you send them a message or DM them on Instagram, he can tell you what they have, and I just have him go over with me what he has, and then then he just invoices me. Oh, there, I shouldn't have put a period between it. Thank you so much, Miss Nikki. Minus, I think, the WW at the front of that. But anyways, that's where I get them. I have a tree, I have a wolf, I have a raven, I have 2 wolves, 2 ravens, a tree. I have a hummingbird. I'm waiting for a cat for my daughter because the hummingbird's for my son. I really want a cat for my dog to represent my daughter. I'm also waiting for a spider. I really want a spider. But yeah, so I just kind of ask what he has in the shop, and then so send them a message is your best way, because I don't think they're listed on the website because they get different ones. They just get like a mix of them in. So they can't ever, it's not for sure what they have and what they don't have. I do want a spider, Elron, because I've been working so much with spiders since that incident I talked about. I pull them all the time. They're about creativity and they create the web and all of that. So I have made peace with the spider. My son especially wants a bear. Yeah, I have 2 bears. I have like a set that's more glittery, or like some of them are a little more iridescent, and then some of them are a little bit more flat. I like kind of like the flat ones a little bit. Actually, I don't think I have it. Yeah, I do. I have a bear. Sorry. My brain is on allergy medicines. Yeah, see, I love this bear. And it's just flat. There's no iridescence, where I have another set. I think it's over there. I can't reach it. That is a little bit more like, has more iridescent paint on it. And I like these flat ones, at least for my reading table, because they feel real natural. And they have words on the back. Like this one says, I am strong. I always forget that because I really don't look at the back of them. Okay, so I answered that. So my daughter has bees tattooed on her knee. Oh, she's got the bee's knees. That my old boss used to say the bee's knees all the time. No, Jace, do not send me any spiders. I said I've made peace with my spiders around me and my spider energy, but that doesn't mean I want to raise spiders. What is my favorite fantasy now? Oh, Claire, that's a hard one. See, I have the first one that always comes to mind is not what I would say is potentially the best, like written. Oops, I need to turn my phone off. It's perhaps not like the best written book in the planet, but it's one of my favorite books. It's called Song in the Silence. I've read it a million times, and I think it's less, and it's a good story. Don't get me wrong. I do like her writing. It's a really good story. I just love it so much because I remember the first time that I read it, it was just like me. It's like, yes, it's me. I do believe in dragons. I do. I do believe in dragons, and I can hear their call. And yes, I do want to go on a grand adventure and meet, the love of my life, who is a dragon or whatever. It's just, I just love it. I just love it. It speaks to that young girl who believes in magic, right? But it's not about a young girl. She's a woman, but still. Anyways, love that book. Love that book so much. So it's a favorite, maybe not just because of, that it's like the greatest American fantasy novel or whatever, but just because it's good. It speaks to my soul. Also, I love anything by Charles DeLint. I love anything by Neil Gaiman, pretty much. I love the Anna Gafford books. I of course, yes, I read them all. One of my favorite series is called, the first one is called Dagger Spell. That is an amazing series by Catherine Kerr. It's a Devery series, and you follow a group of people whose lives are intertwined. And you follow them through multiple incarnations as they have to unravel these things. It's amazing. I really love that set of books. I just love, there's so many. That's a really hard question. I love Patricia McKillip's books by, just because of her lyrical use of words. It's like reading poetry. Her books are poetic prose, which are and they're amazing. So I love Patricia McKillip's books. Yeah. I love the Rhapsody series. The first one is called Rhapsody. That's an amazing series. Don't get the audiobooks. It's a horrible narrator. But the, yeah, soul groups are fascinating. It was the first time I'd seen anything about them before, and I loved it. But who writes that? Oh, I can't remember. Somebody Hayden, maybe. Anyways, the first book is called Rhapsody, and that is absolutely amazing. And the whole series is amazing. And I just love the characters so much. There's 3 very different main characters, and they're just awesome. Absolutely love it. I'm sorry. I'm coming. Yeah, I have to. I did see that, but I was in the middle of answering something. I don't know what you mean by the Raven cards. So I guess that's, I maybe could get some clarification. It says, asked to please speak about the Raven cards, but I'm not sure what you mean by the Raven cards. The dragons, well, there's dragons in probably every single one of those books that I talked about. Maybe not Rhapsody, but the first one that I talked about with the dragons is called Song in the Silence. So I've mentioned Song in the Silence, any book by Patricia McKillip, any book by Charles, not any book by Charles DeLint, I will say, but most of them. The Catherine Kerr series, which does have dragons in it, that is the first one. The Devery series, the first one's called Dagger Spell. The Rhapsody series, which is absolutely amazing. So that's, I think, what I've mentioned so far. I read extremely fast, unfortunately. I've also been reading fantasy since I was in high school, right? So I've been reading a long time, and I read very fast, sometimes irritatingly so. And I know that sounds annoying, but it's actually true. Of course, The Hobbit. The very first fantasy novel, of course, I mean, we all can say the same thing, right? The very first fantasy novel that my dad read to us, The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. And I read my kids Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit out loud. And when my son was dying, I came in and my daughter was reading The Hobbit to my son. That's how important those novels are to me and to my family. Like it's, you know, it's just everything. And so from there, it just rolled out. So yeah. I read slowly. I know it's so irritating for people. I just read fast. I read in chunks. So, you know, some people can read in more than, you're not reading word by word, you're reading word chunks or nice chunks of, like, not paragraphs, but you're reading large bits at a time versus word by word. And so it's just I read fast, but I also retain well, because I was always challenged in grade school that I couldn't have read what I just read, and then they would test me and find out I was reading. So I do read very quickly. So it's wonderful, but it's expensive because you buy a book and then you've read it so fast. So it's got its pluses and its minuses. Did the one guy ever, let's see, did somebody ever clarify the Raven cards? Because I don't really know how to answer that one. And I know he's asked it more than once, so I apologize. I love urban fantasy. I write mostly urban fantasy, and I love urban fantasy too. That's why Charles DeLint is so absolutely amazing. I'm trying to scroll back. I'm so sorry. If I've missed a question, please don't hesitate to repeat it again. I truly mean this when I say it's not because I'm ignoring you. It's just it's just the way live chats by very nature just roll quickly, right? They just roll. I've written a lot, Mr. Elron. I like to write short stories for the most part. I have half a book done. Thank you to what's that thing where you write NaNoWriMo. I do have half of a novel done, but I really love writing short stories. So, okay, so it looks like, all right, I see it. Jet, is it Jet or Jete? I'm sorry if I'm saying your name incorrectly, but, oh, so you mean about Raven Spirit. I think that Raven and Crow energy for me, again, I think everybody's going to be different in how they do it, or how they relate to energy, animal spirit energy. Yes, I have, Jace. I wouldn't say is it just a one graphic novel? I've read, I think it's a series, a Sandman series, and I've read a few of them. I haven't read them all. Sorry, I'm trying to answer. Let's go back here to this poor person who's trying to get the answer. So for me, Raven Spirit and Crow Spirit is very much connected with Celtic mythology because I grew up immersed in it. And so for me, it's very much messenger energy. It's energy that is crossing. It's something of import. It's time to pay attention because there is something of import that is happening, that's going on. They're also obviously tied strongly with the Morrigan energy, very tied with that for me because of personal experiences and things with that energy. It's a very much a call to step up and a call to pull it together and hear. So there's a lot of magic for me that's tied. Yete, thank you. Yete, because you have the E large. Is it Yete, Yeta, or Yete? I'm trying to watch the way you have it pronounced. I apologize for slaughtering your name. I just, I speak English at best. So for me, it's about magic. It's about messages. It's about pay attention and it's about it's time to step up to the plate and really be paying attention magically and that kind of energy. So that's what it means to me, but it could mean something entirely different to somebody else, right? I thought I had the deck out right here because I pulled my, today or yesterday was the summer solstice. And so my animal card changed, which is now moved to the hawk, but I was going to see what they had on the raven and the crow, but I don't know where I put the deck at. I pulled the card out, so I would think that the deck would be right here. It should be right here. That's not good. It's probably, oh, here it is right here. It's right there. Let's see what it says. That's how I see, for me, that's how I interact with Crow and Raven energy. Hopefully that makes sense. But I think that depends on the mythologies maybe of your people in regards to Crow and Raven. Obviously, it's connected with the idea of Odin and this idea of memories and there's so many things. Like there's so many myths surrounding ravens and crows. So I think that I always say with animal energy, if you're wanting to get into animal energy, if you're wanting to work with it, I think it's twofold. For me, it's twofold. First fold, that's not a word. really get to know, do some research on the animal itself and how the animal, if you can, like I can actually watch, I can find lots of crows, but even ravens I do have a lot of raven experiences around here. So watch them, see how they act, look up what is how are they talked about in terms of their interactions with the world around them and all that kind of stuff. Get to know them as an animal, right? But then also get to look up raven or crow or fox or bear mythologies or stories or folklore, because then you can really start to see, oh, okay, that's getting into the bigger story that spans across time and space. Or what are the mythologies? How do they keep turning up in mythologies and in stories and folk tales? So for me, because folk tales are the base of my practice, that has a lot of power for me over how I would see a particular animal. I think I'm probably not making sense, but I did say that I'm on allergy medication. And I generally don't take allergy medication unless I can go to sleep. So for example, here's the raven, and the raven in this deck is called the shaman, which that works really well for me because I would definitely connect those two energies. I thought there was a separate crow one in here. I do intermingle. I know that ravens and crows are different. I can see the difference because I can see both of them around me. And so I know that the energy, there are two separate, there's a raven and there's a crow, but the energy for me morphs all the time. So when I think of like my totem, I don't like you really use the word totem, but one of my primary animal energies that I work with is raven and crow, and it morphs in and out between those two. That's just me personally. Other people will keep those very, very separate. So you have to go with what works for you. Yes, you do, Elron. The answer to that musing is yes. That's for me. But I can barely pass up on animal decks. It's just me. Okay, I know I probably missed a bunch in trying to answer that. So hopefully that helped. I don't know if that helped at all, but if it did, hopefully it helped somewhere. I'm trying to scroll back, but it's never a good idea for me to scroll backwards. Jete. So sorry. Okay, scrolling. A crow's on my chimney staring at me right now, looking hungry, said Chris. Back away slowly. Back away slowly. How is the Pagan Otherworlds deck after last week? I don't think that's addressed to me because I don't know anything about that. So, Miss Morgan says, yesterday I was sitting under a tree and a little spider crawled on me and I brushed it off, and then a bigger spider crawled on me and I brushed it off. I thought to be continued. Oh, I think she's going to finish it. Yeah, that's a message, isn't it? Thoughts on the Radiant Wise. I don't closely follow the various versions of Rider-Waite-Smith. Sorry, folks. The color tones look beautiful. I was tempted by the bind to get that one, but the fact is I keep my Centennial version. I love the coloration on the Centennial. I just don't read with it. I use it for school, for teaching, and I have the borderless. I love the cardstock, the borderless Centennial. I have one in a tin, and it's like good enough for me. So I am tempted by it because it is beautiful. The color tones look amazing. Not so fan of the glossy, that it looks like it's glossy, but it's probably not one that I would get just because I really wouldn't use it. And so, see, for me, my favorite series for the urban fantasy would be Charles DeLint, and all of those books, that Newford, all of them that are centered around Newford, Newford or Newford. I always say Newford, but I think he was like my first probably step into urban fantasy because, I mostly read high fantasy before that. And so when I found him, so that he greatly influenced, definitely my writing, simply because that was my first, like, oh, like I love this blend of modernity, this idea that, because that's what I believe is that, just because we don't live in the forest, it doesn't mean there's not a fae around the corner of that tree or down that alleyway. So it was just like reading that and saying, oh, wow, like, yes, yes, I believe that Charles DeLint sees the Fae energy, and no question, I do believe that he blends what he sees, and he's pretty magical. Also, Neil Gaiman, because oh my gosh, I mean, did you see that they're going to do Oceans at the End of the Street? Like there's either a movie or a TV series or something coming for Oceans at the End of the Street. Oceans at the End of the Street is amazing. His Graveyard book, which is kind of like it's about a child. I have listened to the Graveyard book. It's called The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. I have listened to that book so many times because, let me just say, for all of the people who understandably say they would rather physically read a book than listen to a book, please, Neil Gaiman reading his own works is amazing, right? That is like the best experience ever, is to hear Neil Gaiman reading his own books. He's an amazing narrator, and he of course wrote the book, so he knows it inside and out. And so that experience is just fantastic. And I highly recommend, if you're just going to listen to one for the first time, listen to the Graveyard book or Oceans at the End of the Street. Those are, yes, both of those I think are fairly underrated of his. I think people who love Neil Gaiman love them, but it's not for kids. I mean, it's just, read the Graveyard book. Listen to Neil Gaiman. This is not sponsored by Audible, but if you don't have Audible, you can go get a free first book and get the Graveyard book. Actually, let me just back it up one step, because if you were to only ever listen to one Audible book your whole life, because you don't like audiobooks, I love audiobooks, but if you're only going to listen to one audiobook in your lifetime, I truly believe it should be The Book Thief. And I can't tell you who the author's name is because it's a mouthful and I always forget what it is, but I read that book. So I read the physical book, and then I bought the Kindle book so that I had it always with me. And then I bought the audiobook, and the narrator it's not the author, but the narrator of The Book Thief is so amazing. And that book is so amazing. So, yeah, I think if you don't listen to any other audiobook, listen to The Book Thief by, thank you, Zach, Marcus Zusak, I guess. And then read the Graveyard book by Neil Gaiman, who narrates it himself. Sorry, people, I get so excited. Yes, I do also, Morgan, I do love audiobooks for rereading. In fact, I do that a lot. The book Sunshine by Robin McKinley. Robin McKinley is an amazing author as well for fantasy. So she writes a couple versions of Beauty and the Beast that are fantastic. She writes an amazing, although very triggering, so please hear me when I say, don't just go out and get Deerskin if you can't listen to difficult content, because Deerskin does have difficult content in it regarding abuse. but it is incredibly and powerfully done. It's a small book that just uses the fantasy genre to hit hard and talk about really hard topics and deep topics. It's a stunning book, but very difficult for some people to read. That's amazing. And her other books as well, but like her other Beauty and the Beast books. Rob McKinley is amazing. She writes a lot of young adult as well, but she's got some that are in the midst. Was I a librarian in my past life? My degree is in literature, right? I have a bachelor's in all of my masters except for my thesis, and I wrote 90 pages of my thesis is literature. So you're asking me to roll into what I love. Another one came to my head that I was wanting to say, but it ran right out again. Oh, He, She, and It. One of my absolute favorite books. Yeah, I didn't have thank you, Jace. Look at Jace knows me. I didn't have a TV. We had a small black and white TV when I was little, and it broke when I was early in grade school. And this was before my parents were Christians. And she said there's nothing it wasn't enough on it to be worth paying for it. And so I never had a television until I was married. So I lived at the library. But I want to quickly say another huge favorite for me is He, She, and It by I'm totally blanking. Marge Piercy. Marge Piercy wrote He, She, and she also wrote Women on the Edge of Time, which is amazing. But He, She, and It, whoever wrote He, She, and It, is one of my favorite books. It literally, it's like you're getting this dual story of a golem being created at the beginning of the Holocaust, when they were just starting to sort of seal off areas of the city and keep people inside of it. And so a golem was created, and then the future in which sort of the cyborg, and the whole book is really asked about that question of what it means to be human. It's absolutely amazing. Anyways, okay, so I think I've over answered whatever question that might be. Whoever asked me the question. I would say, I'm sorry, I'm going to do one more thing. My most re-listened to, because that's what we were talking about, is how the audiobooks are good for playing over and over again. Can you hear the ice cream people? Be coming round the mountain, you'll be coming round the mountain. There's an ice cream truck out there. Okay, last book, and then I'll stop. In terms of audiobooks, being able to play it over and over again, my most replayed book on audio, on Audible, and I have a lot of books on Audible. I started on Audible back when my kids were little. It was before they could read. I think I got on Audible whenever Audible started. So I literally have hundreds of books, a lot of them for the kids. Michael had a hard time reading. He could read very well, but he would very quickly forget what he had just read. And so I read to my kids until they were grown adults. So I got a lot of books for him to listen to. I have a ton of audiobooks, but my most replayed is Sunshine by Robin McKinley, which is an amazing vampire, but not in the way that you would think of a vampire book. It's very different. I don't think even a lot of people would think, oh, it's a vampire book, but it's amazing. And it's called Sunshine. And for some reason, because I've listened to it so many times, I use it when I need to go to sleep, but I don't want to be paying attention. I don't want the book to keep me awake. I want the book to put me to sleep. And so I listen to Sunshine. I know I need to shuffle. It's, whoever started the whole, well, let's do this one first. Whoever started the whole book thing, you're asking me to never focus on anything again after being asked to list books that I love, please. That's like, you know, the ultimate way to sidetrack the conversation. So I know we have a lot of people around the world. Does everybody have ice cream trucks? Like, were ice cream trucks a thing when you were a kid? Where you know, where a little truck goes around with music. It's coming closer. It's just so cute that they still do them, right? It's so cute that they still just drove by. So anyways, if you did not live in the United States, so I know in the United States, but if you didn't live in the United States, did you have some version of an ice cream truck that would drive around playing music and then the little kids would chase it down the road? Elron says yes and yes, but I don't know what he's talking about. So are you saying in Israel they had ice cream trucks, Elron? Is that what you're saying? Did you grow up in Israel? See, I guess I don't know that. Brisbane, yes. In my part of Germany, they only did that in the 90s, said Lady Knight of Avalon. Liam lives in the middle of nowhere in which there are no ice cream trucks. Whale Song says yes to the ice cream truck. They had the Good Humor Man. Somebody said, I think Simon said yes and said a name. I'm scrolling, so I'm trying to find it again. I missed it. Simon said something. There was Mr. Whippy or Mr. Whippy, something like that. Good morning, Hecate's Crossing is being lazy in bed. It's a wonderful place to be. The best. It was a guy on the beach that sold ice cream for 5 shekels. What would 5 shekels be the equivalent of? Like, is that like 25 cents or something like that? Well, I wasn't meaning, I hope that did not come across offensive. I did not mean, oh, they must not have had ice cream in Israel. I meant if they had ice cream trucks, because I wasn't sure if you grew up there, like what point you came to the United States. So I wasn't going to assume. Morgan says, when the ice cream truck comes by, I try to turn up the TV so the kids can't hear it. Who has cash anymore? Who has cash? Like, who keeps cash around, right? Most of us are debit card people, right? I know, I'm being distracted. That's okay. That's okay. We can be distracted. Twisted Leaf also grew up in the middle of nowhere, no ice cream trucks. Oh no, they saw their first one on a horror movie. That is not a good. Isn't there a Charmed one? Is there a Charmed episode? It's either Charmed or Buffy. I think it's Charmed. There may be a Charmed episode where they get sucked in, like they go into the back of the ice cream man's truck and like get sucked into another dimension. I love that stuff. I love that stuff. They do not have milkmen anymore, but they did used to have milkmen. Well, I can't say that no place in the United States have milkman, but I've never heard in my area there is not now a milkman, but there used to be. My mom used to remember riding in the truck with the milkman in her little town. So not so much anymore. And same thing with ice cream trucks. They're not everywhere anymore. It was Charmed. I thought that was what it was. No, it was not a fun dimension, Elrond. It was not a good dimension to get sucked into. But yeah, I think he was capturing demonic children or something. Hello, Miss Kaleidoscope. We're talking about whether or not where you grew up had ice cream trucks, because there was an ice cream truck sitting outside playing music of my door or of my window. And so we were trying to find out who had ice cream trucks or things like that when they were growing up, where they lived. I do remember the Schwan. Was it Schwan or Schwan? Yes, we did have that. We could deliver stuff. That's more recent than the ice cream man, though. Yes, I'm shuffling the Art of Life because we've been pulling one a week. So I'm pulling our Art of Life so that Nikki can be happy with me and not get mad at me. No, Miss Nikki does not get mad at me for not pulling her card, my card. Schwan, it was like a Schwan man. You could order things and they would come by and bring you stuff. Yes, I make I still make popsicles. I like to make like fruit juice popsicles. So you can just pour the fruit juice in and then it's like good, healthy fruit juice, but then you get a popsicle. That's a good thing. And we also, you know, and I was growing up, it was churning the ice cream. Because we had the hand churner. And so all the cousins would take turns churning the ice cream, churning and churning and churning. My grandfather's favorite flavor was banana, so we did a lot of banana ice cream. See, look at. In South Africa, we had ice cream deliveries by a man in a bicycle with a box in the front. Oh, Miss Kaleidoscope. I do believe that Miss Kaleidoscope and I were like sisters or something in another past life or something. And I feel like that we had ice cream man like that. Maybe I was your sister in South Africa in a past life and the ice cream man came with a box in the front. I like to believe that. I have never heard of the rains. I think somebody asked me that twice. I'm going to Google, or maybe it was Jace just trying to get my attention. I'm going to Google it. Kelly, did you ever have frozen? I'm assuming with the G Jello, I'm assuming you're not talking about Jello. So maybe like gelato, would it be something similar like to gelato or something like that? I'm not sure. I have had gelato. I don't know if that's the same thing. The Rain Coast Tarot by Christoph James. I've not heard of this. Let me see if I've seen it before. No, it looks like a collage-y, very cool toned deck. Yeah, I can't get it to. Lots of blue skins, it looks like. No, I haven't seen this. I'll have to look at it more closely. The Fool is very interesting. Nope, I haven't seen it, so I have no opinion on it because I have not seen it before. I kept it up so that I can look at the link later. Oh, you misspelled Jello. I've never even heard of frozen Jello. I mean, I make Jello, but I've never heard of frozen Jello. I'll take a look. Simon did a walkthrough. I'll take a look and see. I'm not a huge fan. Like when I first look at it, my reaction is that the blue skins look very cool toned, almost like dead people. So that the tone of it doesn't do anything for me. It looks like cool art, but I'm not a big fan. My reaction isn't immediate, like, oh my gosh, I have to have that. And I think a lot of it is because of the blue toned skin there, but I'll take a closer look at it. I know frozen Jello sounds so strange, but I do trust Elron. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm trying to pull a card. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm gonna stop, Miss Nikki. Okay, let's pull this. This is our card for the week from the Art of Life tarot that we've been doing. I have some Jello, Elron. I'm gonna pop up a little bit of it up in the freezer and see what happens. That seems very strange. I know. I don't know, Chris, if it really is going to be Jello anymore once it doesn't wiggle. I'm not sure. That just made me think of. Some things wiggle, but they don't fall down. Do you remember those little toys? Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. That is exactly what went in my head. How old am I, Chris? Chris, I think, is just as old as I am. Weebles wobble and they don't fall down. Oh my gosh. No to canned fruit. I cannot eat canned fruit, but I could put fresh fruit in it. Weebles. Well, I know. Do you remember Weebles, Claire? Oh, okay. Let's see. What we somebody just said, don't pick this. Somebody just said, why did we not want to pick this one? Why do you not want to pick the air balloon? Somebody just said, don't pick the air balloon. But this isn't the tower card. This is the chariot card. This is my birth card. Simon, I think Simon, yes, he did. Simon, why did you not want to pick the air balloon card? The chariot's it's a positive card of confidence and moving forward. And so let's see, the quote is, do not go where the path may lead, go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ralph Waldo Emerson, whom I adore and love. This is a good one. It's not the tower card. We did have this one already, but hey, the cards have spoken, Sherry. The cards have spoken. Forge new paths, climb every mountain, ford every stream, follow every rainbow until you find your dream. I can't go up high. I have sinus issues at the moment. I cannot even sing, let alone go up high. This isn't last week's, but we did it a couple weeks ago. It was not last week's. The week before was the tower card. So maybe it was like 3 before. Oh, did I call it as being the chariot? Oh, I've been to air balloon shows before, Miss Kaleidoscope, and they're so beautiful to go to. In the United States, you can go, I think it's not in Texas, but it's somewhere down south, New Mexico. I think in, you don't want to hear me hit that high. I'd have to start really low to be able to hit that one. I think it's in New Mexico. There is a huge, like air balloon festival. It's on my bucket list to go there. So the card title is the Chariot. Sorry, Miss Nikki. The card title is the Chariot, which is my birth card. And the quote is, do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail, by Ralph Waldo Emerson. So forge your own path this week. You may find yourself going along with the flow and you want to turn left, right? You want to go forge a new path. If you're going to go take a walk, go in a different direction than you normally go in. Don't go anywhere creepy. Don't go going down dark alleyways or anything. But you know, if you feel like you're getting pulled along by the tide this week, or you feel like you're just kind of moving with the flow and not really actively engaged, grab a hold of your sandbags or your reins, and really be a driver. You drive your own chariot, drive your own air balloon, make your own path, and then shine a light for those people who are coming in your wake. There's a sense of confidence, right, about the chariot. It's all about really owning your own power and your own control and your own ability to move forward, even though, now remember, the chariot does have that connotation of disparate energies, right? We often see a black and white horse, or things of that nature. I love what is that one? There is a tarot deck that I have, an older one. And what I love about that deck is that the chariot has 4 horses of the 4 elements. Oh, I can't remember what it's called though, sorry. But anyways, it is that idea of, even though energy might be pretty chaotic around you, even though life may be chaotic, grab hold of the reins, right? And assert your will and forge a new path. I love it. I love it. Okay. That's our card again. We're not going to argue with Art of Life, even if it wants to give us a repeat card, because obviously we needed, oops, I put it in upside down. Obviously we needed that message for this week somehow. Now I can't get it back in here. Why does this little thing not like me? There we go. There we go. Oh. I think we need to pull an animal too. Should we pull an animal message? I don't want to put my hawk in there because my hawk this is my animal for summer solstice. So I'll keep this one out until the summer's peak or the summer cross quarter where it will switch. But let's just do an animal message. I'll pull it back out again. I guess so. I guess so. Actually, I think we'll do a feather too. Let's do that. Let's do that, and let's do another 3-1. Remember, we've done this a couple times. We're going to pull one from each. We're going to have a Whispering Woods, a feather, and an animal message because we can. Because it's our chat, and we can do whatever I want. Let's see. I dirigible. I love the word dirigible. Do we not love that word? Do we not love that word? That's an amazing word. I'm sorry. I'm just saw that pop into. I know. I can't help but sing that song, Unashi. I mean, it's just it's hard because you just see that thing's rising up. I don't know. I apologize. I apologize, Unashi. Oh, very new path. Yep. You just forge your path, True Rocks. Forge your path. Oh, Heather, did you spell it right? I think it's an I, Heather. I think it's Dirigible. I would have to type it. I love kerfluffle. That is an awesome word as well. Whilst I am an expert reader, I'm not an expert speller. I'm a decent speller, but I'm not an expert speller. And one of the things that I'm horrible at is scrap. Like, people always think, my ex was like this. People assume that because I was a lit major that I was going to be good at Scrabble. Because I read all the time that I'd be really good at Scrabble. I suck at Scrabble. I do not do very well with letters just all being mixed up and then seeing things. Like, that is actually not something I'm good at. All right, so let's pull this. We're going to have a multi-deck reading, just the thing I love. I do like Scrabble, but I'm not good at it, Heather, at all. What I am good at, I will say that what I am good at is convincing people that I've put a word up. So I would put up like a word that may or may not have been a word, but I'm pretty good at looking convincing that it's a word. And so, you have to challenge. Like, there's something in the original rule set where if you challenge somebody and you fail, you get a penalty because you've challenged them and they've said, and then you've looked it up in a dictionary and you're like, yeah, I'm right. And so I'm really good at people assuming that, yes, I can say this is a word. This is what, yeah, it's a word. It means X, Y, Z. Like, what are you talking about? And people know that I read a lot. So they just assume, oh, that's probably some old word that I've never heard of. I am good about that. I am good at poker too. I'm good at Texas Hold'em. I know, poker face and Scrabble. Exactly. Whopperjawed. I love the word whopperjawed. And it because you know why I like the word whopperjawed? Because it is what it is what it is. The word itself sounds like what it is. So when you say everything's all whopperjawed, it sounds like everything's are out of whack, right? The word itself sounds like it's out of whack. So I love that. Miss or Mr. Twist the Leaf is going to go play with plants. Have fun playing with plants. That sounds much, much more fun. Kitty Wampus. Okay, let's see. Oh, there's somebody outside doing so. Oh, look. Isabel Louise, come here. Come on. Somebody's banging in the hallway, and so she's not happy. We have the visionary. With the beautiful, look at these beautiful I just love her artwork. Even though I'm torn between some of my animal decks. The only thing that I don't like about this deck is that I'm not a big fan of lots of text. We've talked about this, right? We've talked. I do like keywords, but I don't like a lot of text. But her artwork is so beautiful. Like, look at her. I know this is a bad camera for it. I just love those giraffes. So this is about the visionary. It's like getting your head up in the clouds, getting your head up. You know, think about a giraffe. They're so tall. They're so beautiful. They're so graceful. I've touched the nose of a baby giraffe. Oh, they're just so sweet, right? But this idea of getting your heads up where you can see clearly. So because, right, we're going to be driving our chariots this week. We're going to be kind of navigating even the crazy energy that's all around us. It's very good to be clear-sighted and be able to see what it is and where we're going. So I love that card. So there's our first card. Now we're going to pull from a couple other decks because we're just having fun. Because why not? We have the decks, so why not use them? That's my theory about that one. What I think somebody said, what was the name of this deck? The name of the first deck I just pulled from is one of my favorite animal decks, which is Spirit of the Animals Oracle by Jody Bergsma. So they scared my kids. You know, we had this place that you would drive, so the animals would be able to roam around for free, They weren't in small cages. Now, I'm still not saying that that is the best place for beautiful animals to be. That's a whole nother conversation, right? But at least they were in little cages. They could roam around in these really big areas. And you could drive through, like on a trail, you could actually drive your car through. And you would have peanuts and things like that. And one of them, the giraffes, stuck their heads into the car. I think we had a sunroof, or else it came in from the side. I don't remember, but it got very close, and their tongues are so long, and it definitely sent. I think it was Katie. It might have been both of them. Might have been Katie and Michael, but neither one of them were impressed with like an animal head coming pretty much into the car, and their tongues like coming all the way into the car. And I think they spent the rest of the time on the floor of the back seat. Do I have an animal deck playlist? Yes, I do have I don't have a playlist, but I have a video that I did that goes through all of my animal decks, I think. It is a little bit freaky, and you have to sign a waiver because they were also buffalo running around, and they did run into the side, not our vehicle, but they did run into the side of a vehicle, or they did like really hit, bump into the side of it. So your car could be damaged and definitely needed a car wash. There's a place in Africa where you can have breakfast and they open the windows and they come in, join you for the giraffes join you. Yeah. In the bush, you see giraffes with smaller animals like warthogs because they know the giraffes can see danger from afar. See, yes, exactly. Yep, because they have that ability, the vision to be able to see better. Oh, I love it. I love it. We had a baby giraffe born at our zoo. And Now we have a zoo that has open enclosures too. It didn't when I was little. It was like terrible little cages. Like there are definitely issues with zoos. It's one of those things that is so, it's such a wonderful experience to be able to take your kids to the zoo and see these animals that they would never see in person. You know, so I can't say that I didn't have wonderful experiences taking my kids to that. But my kids themselves were always had mixed feelings about it as well, which tells you something. That little children just have that sense that, you know, but this isn't really how it should be. So it's just, it's, I don't know. I have a problem with zoos and circuses. You know, you just have that, you know, there's that mixed thing where it's such an amazing experience for them to see these animals up close. But then, you know, for the poor animals, is that such an amazing thing. Now, there are some good, you know, better zoos than others. And thankfully, we do have a much better zoo than others. But it's still amazing memories. We went all the time. The art museum and the zoo. Used to be able to go to the zoo on Mondays for free. If you lived in the area, you could go to the zoo. I think it was Mondays for free. So we went to the zoo constantly, and we went to the art museum constantly. Both myself when I was growing up, and then my kids. I do think they're trying to improve as well, Becky. But yeah, it's a hard, just because, you know, I hate to, I have so many wonderful memories of my kids and the animals and their love of animals. And Michael, that's all Michael wanted to do was work at the zoo. I think that's when we got to pet Giraffe. I think they let us go in the back because of his health issues. There was something where we could go in the back and see them more up close. So yeah, it's definitely Unashi. There's a mix, right? There's a mixed issue there. But I have an amazing, you know, amazing of my own childhood memories, and then my kids' memories of it with my kids, and because both of my kids were just animal fanatics. So yeah. Anyways, okay. Let's pull our feather for the giraffes. Cincinnati Zoo is pretty impressive too. We have the pelican. I've never pulled the pelican. I love this deck. Can I just say, I know we've talked about this one already. This is the Divine Feather Messenger. I love this deck. I love the backs, which are so beautiful. They're just the feather. And then I love the little messages are really nice. I just really like this deck. It just, like, look at this beautiful feather. Like, I'm just, look at this. Beautiful. I love Orioles. So yeah, I love this deck a lot, in case anybody was wondering. We have the pelican. Look at this choose to follow the paths. It's all about following paths, right? With the see your path, with the giraffe, with the chariot card, like forge your own path. Now this is saying what path that might be. And this one is saying to choose to follow the path of forgiveness and raise your vibration. So this is about, getting a good view, right? With the giraffe is saying, get some clarity, being able to see ahead of you. And what are the ways in which you may need to let go of something? You may need to forge a path towards forgiveness. Maybe there's somebody in your life that you have a strained relationship with. Maybe you have to do some forgiving of your own self, right? Because it doesn't always have to be somebody else. But thinking about ways that you can, that there may be a situation with either yourself or with another person that needs to be worked through, needs to put a little bit of energy in on that. Let's see what else it says. I've never pulled this one. Here's the hawk. I had this one out because hawk is my animal this month. Hello, Mr. Patrick. Where's the deck? Where's the deck? Or where's the guidebook? So let's see what they say, because I have not really worked a lot with pelicans. I don't know if anybody else has, but I've not. Pelican Messenger is here to share the power of forgiveness, which we already talked about. But I want to hear about the animal itself. Here we go. Pelican is a water animal with an unmistakable pouch. Yes, the bird is quite light and buoyant in spite of its size. I should be holding it up. the imagery and is a symbol of lightness on the water. So apparently, because I've seen pelicans in person. They look very big and solid, but apparently they're actually very light. The water is a symbol of emotions, and pelicans teach us to not become weighed down or overwhelmed by our emotions. So what do you need to work through to lighten up your emotional space, I guess, is what I would get out of that, right? Most importantly, pelicans dive deep into the watery world and comes back up with what it needs to come back up with, right? So they're diving in because, of course, you don't know what diving is, so I have to give you the visual like this. I'm sorry. Sometimes my sometimes my allergy medication brain just says, hey, let's just make motions with our cards. But yeah, I like this idea of buoyancy and this idea of diving in for what you got to pull up from those recesses, and let's pull this out into the light of day, get some clarity on particular situations or such. That way you can deal with them, and get on your air balloon, right? And get on your, let's do our love. We're in kindergarten now. Let's get on your air balloon and let's drive our chariot over here. Aren't you all glad this is not the normal way that we do readings? Holy goodness, Kelly. I'm so sorry. If anybody's just coming in, it's a little bit goofy today. That's okay. We can be goofy. But the messages are actually fabulous. So so let's just focus on the message and not on the messenger. It shouldn't be on the messenger, right? It should be on the message anyways. So that's our 2. Again, favorite deck, and again, favorite deck. Miss Havana, I think, said something about this in chat, and then Miss Offset sent it to me, and it is one of my favorite little decks. I love the size. I love the feathers. I love the messages. It's just, it speaks to my soul. So let's pull the 3rd one. So our last one, hello, is it a Kale? Hello, Miss or Mr. Sunflower. Nice to see you. Goofy is good. I think Miss Osset might be here. Yes, hello, Miss Osset. I thought I saw somebody else slip into, but I could be wrong. Maybe Whale Song. I don't think I've seen you, Miss Whale Song, for a while. Hello, hello. I know Mr. Patrick came in too, and I was babbling. So the last one we're going to pull is from Whispering Wood. This is one of the little boxes. I have this one out and the Doors one out. It's supposed. Oh, did you change your name? I'll never remember who you are now. I can't keep up. So yeah, because I was going to get up really early this morning to see the sunrise because I missed it yesterday, but I just was not feeling good because, like I said, I feel like I definitely have the normal stuff for Kelly going on, and I just really didn't feel good. But I've had a good day out in the sun anyway, so it's okay. But I had packed up a bunch of decks, and this was one of them. But let's do the Whispering Wood to go with our animal and with our bird. So we have giraffes for our animal, and we have hawk. I'm looking at my hawk. Pelican for our bird. Yeah, the Doors deck is amazing. But I do like the Whispering Wood. I mean, look at how sweet. It's so sweet. I wish there was different art, but it's still so, so, so sweet. Yeah, Patrick got the Doors one after. I was really surprised he got it. And he's been pulling a door for each of the solstices and equinoxes. I don't think the cross quarters. I think he's just doing the equinoxes and the solstices. A new door. That's true, Chris. That is a very good point. Chris wishes that the Doors one showed or just indicated where in the world the door was. Where in the world is that door? Hello, Emma. I guess that means that the door, yeah, as Nikki says, that means that the door can be just the door to the message that you're receiving. It doesn't have to have a place in time and space. It can just be a door to the great beyond. Okay, let's pull our sweet little renew. Nature continuously renews itself year after year. So this is okay. So let's pull it together now. We're going to pull it all together. Oops, wrong way. Okay, so we're having fun here. We're having fun here, folks. We have the giraffes, which is the first one we pulled. This idea of vision, this idea of getting our heads up where we can really start to see things clearly and see the path that we want to go to ahead of us. We've got that clarity of sight. We also think of grace. I think of with giraffes, grace, a gentleness about them, a gracefulness about them. So that idea of having grace certainly comes up for me. With something like a beautiful giraffe. Watching them walk is just an act of beauty and grace to see. So I think of gracefulness as well. And so that always makes me think having grace. So seeing clearly and being able to see the road ahead, but having grace. And I think the idea of this having grace ties really well with the pelican, because the pelican is referencing the fact that there is a sense of lightness in the emotional realm. Diving deep where there may need to be some forgiveness, there may need to be some grace that you need to give to yourself or to other people. But the idea here is to dig deep, but don't be weighed down by your emotions and situations like that. Bring a little bit of lightness and buoyancy into your coming week, because we're kind of talking week. And then we have this sense of renewal, right? If we can lighten our load up a little bit, if we can deal with and have grace with what we need, if we can see clearly, this is going to cause us to be able to move through the rest of the week in a renewed state, right? If we're weighed down, if we're down into the muck and the mire, it's a lot harder to see the way that the world cycles through and renews itself over and over again. It's like, this too shall pass, right? Get the clarity that you need to see, lighten up the load, and then you can really see the way that this is all part of the cycle of renewal that nature brings. So I love it. I really do like these three decks together. I think we've done this a couple times now using these three, and it makes me happy. It makes me happy. So there we go. There we go. Despite medications. Yeah, I do love chimneys as well. Fireplaces and chimneys are wonderful, but doors are absolutely wonderful. We need a crystal. I don't draw too often for crystal, but for Mr. Elrond, I certainly will with my favorite crystal deck. I guess with crystal, this is one of my most used oracle decks, so I should not say that, but I tend to work with crystals more than draw crystals. Let me pull my hawk back out of here. Sorry, 1 second, because I need to set it up out because I've changed over to hawk, and I shuffled it in case it's possible that we would have gotten the hawk. So let me find it, and before I put this deck away. I thought maybe I didn't mix. Yeah, here it is. Hawk and hawk. Okay, I want to put those out on my space. Did I ever pull from the night? I should pull that out. I did. I love the book more than the deck. I'm sorry, Elrond. I love the book so much. The big book and the book that goes with the deck. The images of the deck are not my favorite. So I haven't used the deck as much, but the books I love. The big book has become one of my all-time Excuse me, one of my all-time favorite crystal books. Yeah, the image it's yeah, not my favorite. But again, books, amazing. This is somebody, in my opinion, who knows crystals, which is amazing. Okay, let's see. Let me put these things away here real quick. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked because I have crazy brain. I'm not sure what they're talking about. ASMR. Oh, falling asleep. I do put people do message me and say that they listen to me while they go to sleep. So either that means I'm really boring. No, I don't take it that way. Oh, she did? I did not know that, and I'll probably forget that because I can't keep up with people changing their names. Okay. I think that's where I'm at, Claire. My ear and my face hurts, and it's just allergy. It's just bad allergy season. I just woke up just really not feeling good. The tinnitus is very loud today. I just feel a little bit out of whack, but you know, what can you do? We keep rolling forward. So apparently I'm taking deck requests. No, I'm not. Please don't start giving me deck requests. But we'll pull a crystal for poor Elrond. When you trust someone, you can fall asleep to their voice. Well, that's a good way to look at it. I always listen to YouTube when I go to bed. I usually listen to audiobook, and very often it's Sunshine. Or there's a really fun set of books. These are not like what I would say are like, oh my gosh, these are amazing books. They're just fun. And it's by Ilona Andrews. Is that what their name is? It's a husband and wife, and they both write the books together. And the first one's called Clean Sweep, I think. There's 3 of them, and I really love them. Again, they're not like, whoa, these are amazing books, but there's just something about them I really enjoy. So I listen to those a lot to go to sleep, or Sunshine, or The Graveyard Book. But we won't get started on books again because then I will run off and we'll go crazy again. Okay, we're pulling a Lavish Earth crystal for Mr. Elrond and anybody else who wants a crystal card. Because why? Ooh, I have one of these. Whoops. We got the Third Eye Agate. Somebody sent me this. Look. So, and it does look at that. It looks like an eye. So if it's looking at you, like this would be your third eye. But look at how awesome that is. Okay, this is really hard. I adore this deck. I cannot tell you how on point this deck is in terms of its quotes. Like every reading that I pull this with, the cards just are on point. This is probably, if I had to like count readings that I've done with Oracle decks, this is probably up there in a deck that I have used the most in readings. But my only complaint is that the font around it is so tiny that even with my glasses, I have a hard time. But, you know, that's just me. So it's by Proust. The real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, no, but in having new eyes. Oh, do you not love that? The keywords are imagination, inspiration, ideas, and limitless. We don't need new landscapes. We need new eyes. We need to not always be searching for the next place somewhere else, but we need to be seeing where we are with fresh eyes. How good of a message is that? We don't, it's the grass isn't always greener someplace else. And if we're bored and blah and everything where we are, just going somewhere else isn't going to fix that, because very quickly after the newness wears off, we're going to be bored again, right? So the message is to change your eyes, not your location. Remove the filters off of your eyes and see fresh. Look where you are, and see that where you are differently versus just continually just, you know, it is a product, I think, of our cultures now to just always be craving a new experience and going somewhere else and moving and moving and moving and just continually trying to have these fresh experiences to keep ourselves activated and engaged. But instead of doing that, stop where you are, be present where you are, and just see it in a new way. Love it. Love it. Love it. Third eye agate stimulates the imagination and helps transform abstract ideas into reality. Welcome in new ideas and inspiration with this wild crystal. No limits is what magical third eye agate says. The beautiful thing about agate is that it keeps you firmly grounded while you imagine and dream and conspire. I love it, love it, love it. That's a good one. There you go. This one's for you. It really is an amazing deck. I bought a lot of crystals from this shop. This is Lavish Earth Shop that is in Maine, and she's amazing to work with. She goes above and beyond in like sending you pictures so that you can pick out like exactly the crystal that you want. I really do like working with her, but this deck, I just feel like every time the quote, and I just love quotes. And so every time the quote or the crystal is just something that just hits the spot, just hits the sweet spot of what I need to hear, what goes with the reading that I'm particularly doing. Miss Kaleidoscope, good night, good night. Good night, good night. What is that song? Somebody might know what I'm talking about. There is a song that goes like that, and all I can think of is literally those first 2 words, and it's not even 2 words; it's 1 word done twice. Oh my dear. Not so long, farewell. Auf Wiedersehen, good night. But that's not the one I'm thinking of. Is it from West Side Story? Good night, good night. I don't know. I have no clue. My daughter, it may not even be good night. It might be tonight, like Miss Becky Beadle says. My daughter says that I just have no memory for lyrics. I say that I just have what's called creative lyricism, in which I just throw in whatever I want to say and whatever I want to sing. And if I don't know the words, I just make them up. And for me, that has to do with, that is about being creative. That's not about a poor memory. My daughter does not agree and gets very irritated because she has a very, very good memory for lyrics. She can hear lyrics once and she can nail them out. I just like to have my own versions of things. I don't think that the people who wrote the song probably agree with my theory, but it works for me and I get enjoyment out of it. And it's fun to annoy your children as well. Let's be honest, part of the reason that was probably my daughter just messaging me saying, "You are ridiculous." I think Elron sent me a picture of giraffes. Oh. But yeah. I think that part of the reason that people have children is so you have somebody to annoy the rest of their lives. Alrighty, folks. I'm just scrolling up here. Miss Kaleidoscope is going to sleep. Yeah, I'm going to wrap this up. I know we were late starting, so this has not been a full 2 hours, but I'm just... my face hurts and I think I'm gonna be lazy. I don't think I really have to do anything today. I'll have to do more of I have a flyer I think to do, so I'll have to do more work tomorrow, but I think I've determined I'm just going to not do anything else today. What is my favorite animal? So that's an easy question. That's a question I can answer. Um, what is my favorite? That's a hard question, Claire. I mean, that's like saying, what's your favorite deck? Why do people want me to have a favorite deck or a favorite animal? Well, I feel like I would have to say either ravens and crows and bears, oh my, because obviously energetically that would be the case. If I'm just talking about animals, like regular animals, like just animals that I love, I'm not actually a huge dog person. I love Isabel. So I don't feel like I'm like a dog lover. It's not that I don't like dogs, but I like dogs, but I'm not like, oh my gosh, I'm a dog person. I'm not really a dog person. I'm an Isabel person. So yes, Isabel is just my, I'm her person. That's just the way it is. But when I'm just thinking about animals in general, I love otters. I love to watch otters. Like since I was little, that's been wanted to watch like National Geographic things or clips and things like that. Otters have always been one of my favorite things. They just look like sweet, and they're having fun, and they're playing, and they're just like all over the place. I don't know. I just love to watch otters in waters. I also love seals because seals are so beautiful and graceful. And come on, I'm sure that just as somewhere there is a piece of Moana in me. Don't throw things at me, folks. You know I'm still disappointed that I didn't have 1% of Polynesian. I just wanted 1% so I could say somewhere I was connected to Moana. I might watch Moana for the 100th time today because, when you don't feel good, you want to watch things. But seals, like I'm sure that I'm a Selkie somewhere in my history, somewhere there. I mean, I got a lot of Irish and Scottish and such. I'm sure somewhere in there's probably a Selkie. So I adore seals. They're just beautiful. I've seen some pretty up close in Maine, actually, when I was visiting a friend of mine that I actually, when I same place that I bought my first tarot deck. We saw some seals pretty up close. But I do love seals. They're just so round. Like Isabel kind of looks like a seal when she's laying on her back. She's pretty round, and she likes to just like lay there all just spread out. So she reminds me of a dog seal. So I think that I was probably a Selkie, and I think that Isabel has some degree of Selkie in her past as well. So I do love otters and seals. I guess those would be my favorites, but I'm sure if you asked me tomorrow, I would come up with other ones. Bears I do love bear energy. So if we're talking about spirit animals, wolves too. Wolves, I have heard many times in life, in real life, I mean, the calls of, I've heard wolves in real life is what I'm trying to say. And there is something that calls to my soul. So wolves, yeah, if I had to pick like one animal above all animals, it would probably be wolves. There's just something powerful in me about wolves, but that's also very connected to a spirit, my animal spirit energy that I work with. So bears and wolves and ravens and crows, and now spider seems to have slipped in there, but we'll see how long that hangs out. But bear energy in terms of like working with spirit animals or animal energy, I have never experienced anything. Oh, I can't say that. My crow's experience is powerful too, but bear is very, very powerful. There is for me, again, it's my own personal experience, like in dreams and things like that. So I guess I couldn't pick with the spirit animals because that seems like really rude. So it would be wolves and bears and ravens and crows, ravens/crows. In real life, it would still probably be wolves up there, but otters and seals are pretty high too. And whales. Oh my gosh, listen to whale songs. This is absolutely amazing. Amazing. Octopus are so amazing as well. Just to watch octopus like figure things out. Have you seen those things like where like they're in this one space and they have to figure out ways to get out in the small spaces that they can get through? Like octopus or octopi are absolutely amazing to think about and to watch in shows. I mean, that's another thing about the technology, because you guys are all just sidetracking me so that I will stay longer. I can tell what's happening here. If you think that I am unaware of your tactics, Claire, no. um, I don't even know what to say. We do live in an amazing world in which we can watch like such amazing National Geographic, like watch animals out in the wild. Oh my goodness, yes. Llamas are wonderful. Alpacas make an amazing yarn. If I had to pick a favorite yarn, it's alpaca. It's a soft. So I don't know if alpacas are that. I have actually seen alpacas. But I don't think I've ever petted an alpaca. I wonder if they're as soft in on the body as they are in yarn. No, I'm just harassing you, Claire. I'm just totally harassing you. Because I can. Because you've been around forever. Yeah, whale songs. Somebody else says Morgan's talking about whale songs. That's the most amazing. I do believe that whales are, especially those huge, like humpback whales. There is something absolutely amazing about listening, because you know they're talking right there. To me, there is no question about, there's just something powerfully resonant about listening to whale songs. Like you really are listening to something akin to like dragons, right? That they're transmitting information that if we understood it, and they probably are just saying, hey, come over here and eat these. There's a bunch of fish over here for you to eat. But boy, it just feels like there's something mystical and magical going on with whale songs for sure. Um, Elron is getting worried that the yarn conversation is going to shift over to, no, I didn't say, I know I'm not making myself very clear. I'm not saying that whales are dragons. I'm just saying there's something, I feel like we get a hint when we listen to whale songs. Here, we're just going off into La La Land with Kelly. I think there's something about whale songs that I feel like we are getting this hint of what it would sound like to hear dragons singing. Song in the silence, people. Read it. I have heard that llamas will spit in your face. Yeah, dolphins are amazing. Super, yeah, about. Somebody said, Morgan said, octopuses, yeah, they're so neat to watch them. Do you think they can sing with all that fire in the throat chakra? Yes, I do believe that dragons can sing. Because not all dragons are fire, right? There's all kinds of, well, in my opinion, not all dragons are fiery dragons. So I definitely think that dragons can sing. Yeah, I agree, Heather. Primal vibration. There's something there that just kind of, and same thing with wolves howling. Let's be honest. Hey, you have read it, Whale Song? It's one of my favorite books. We were talking about it earlier. I promise I won't get back. I've just listed tons of books. I'm not going to do it again. But yeah, that's why I brought it up, because I had talked to them before about I know. Puff the magic dragon lives in the sea and frolics in the something something in a land called Honolulu. Something. Yes, Puff sings. Thank you, Chris. Chris is supporting me in the fact that dragons can sing, because Puff does. Of course, he was magical, says Elron. An autumn mist. Thank you, Becky Beadle. Thank you. Everybody's saying, oh, I could just see everybody's faces like it's autumn mist, Kelly, or this would be Katie. Mom, you know it's autumn mist. Okay, people, I am going to go because I just need to go now. But it has been, as always, absolutely wonderful to talk about books and do readings and talk about animals, which I love, and do readings and just everything. It's great to spend a beautiful, I mean, it really is beautiful. It's breezy. It's not too hot. The sky is blue, and it's been very rainy around here. So it's a beautiful Saturday afternoon, and it is lovely to spend a couple hours with you guys. And I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And I will be talking to you guys all soon. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.